Okay,
more or
okay.
less, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, done.
All ready? All right. So 2025 European Open final starts now.
Two. Five. Eight. Ten. Of the half rest, but half rest. Yeah, just the half rest, yeah. Thank you. Just one off, all right, yeah. Good, try that way. No, that's it. Thank you. Twelve. Fifteen. 18. Peter Gilchrist, 18. Two. Baby Causier, 2.
Come back from better than that.
3. Six. 8. 11. 13. 15. 18. 19. 20. 23. 25. 37. 30. 32. 35. 38.
'Well, good afternoon, everybody. We're watching the 2025
40.
European Open final here in Belgium, Bruges, at the Trick Shot Club. I'm Darren Clark, and I'm joined by Chris Coombe. And this promises to be a great final, Chris.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Darren. Yeah, what a great final we've got in prospect here.
42.
What great semi-finals we had as well, particularly with Peter Gilchrist coming back with a 300 unfinished break just to pip Rob Hall at the last moment of that semi-final. And
44.
two of the all-time greats here meeting once again. We never tire of watching these two, do we, Darren?
No, and he in that semi-final against Rob, Peter was on 299. Obviously, we're playing the Borkline crossing in this event.
46.
So that means that your cue ball needs to cross over the Borkline between every 80 and 100 points. And Peter was on 299, and he was yet to cross the Borkline, and he'd left himself really awkward at the top, and he played a ridiculous cannon, let's say, to cross the Borkline for a fantastic break, and just pipped Rob right at the very end there.
Yeah, this is the early stages, of course, of this final. Yeah, the ball's of course not really in ideal position yet. Peter's got a small lead, but of course a long way to go. 3 hours is the length of this final. And
52.
I'm sure those of you who've been watching for the last few days will be aware that this, of course, is the European Open at the Trick Shot Club in Bruges, in Belgium. This followed on from the Belgian Open, which was held over the weekend. So this is the 5th day of play here, so both players will be nicely warmed up. There's been long matches as well in this event, longer than standard events, because it's a level 5 tournament on our calendar, so that means longer matches, higher ranking points and prize money available. So the previous rounds were 2.5 hours in the semi-finals, and even the last 16 was 2 hours, which is a decent length of match really to see the best players get a string of breaks together, and the supporters here have enjoyed watching what's been on display here.
Yeah, there's been some really high breaks so far. Dave's had 3 over 500. Like we said, all with balkline crossings. Rob Hall's highest is 434. And then Peter, who's in play now, he's had a 390, his highest. So it's been some really heavy scoring. And Peter will be looking to do some damage here, I think, early on against Dave.
We spoke about Peter Gilchrist's semi-final against Rob Hall, but of course on the other table at that time was Dave Causier, who defeated India's Dhruv Sitwala, who's a wonderful player himself. Of course, an Asian champion, a runner-up in the World Billiards Championship, and Dave managed to win a one-sided match on this occasion, but I'm sure Dave will be delighted to have got through that without any real stress, as it turned out, and he'll be ready to put in a good fight in this final against Gilchrist, who of course he knows is playing very well. So I think we'll be getting an early bulk line crossing warning in this break. He's on 69 now, so as we said, the crossing warning comes at 80, so with the balls not being at the top of the table yet, it could create an interesting situation where you might need to think a little bit about how to make the crossing, but we'll see how this pans out. Well, actually, I must have put the commentator's cursor in, missing that in off there, but nevertheless, an early contribution there from Peter. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of heavy scoring from him. I think, Darren, it's just about settling into this match, isn't it? Obviously, it's, even though both players have already had a match earlier today, it's a new match, and they just want to get the run of the balls and the flow of the match going in their favour early on, I guess.
Yeah, it's that same conversation that we tend to have whenever we watch Dave play. The primary focus for his opponent, obviously, is try and slow him down and get off to a good start. If Dave, he's a great front runner. If he gets off, 100, 200, 300 in front of you, it's obviously an uphill task. So Peter's just obviously here trying to control the game a little bit. I guess make Dave feel a little bit uncomfortable, uneasy, because he can get a little bit sort of on his toes, let's say. But this is a good chance now for Dave to get his scoring boots on. Hi to Peter Tankard, watching from across the pond in Australia. Yeah, it's been great, Chris, to see obviously a lot of local players playing here in these two events. I think we've had about 10 or so Belgians playing, which is fantastic. We've got Stefan Ng, the referee, if that's the right pronunciation, from Singapore. He's the official for this final. We've had a good contingent of officials here, and it's been a great sort of 5 days or so, and we climax now with this final.
Chad. Okay.
16. Seventeen. 19.
So we look on now as Dave plays the drop cannon, brings the yellow down behind the billiard spot. This break is 21 currently, and this is a major chance now for Dave to make a sizable break in this final. Just drops that red in now, and he's going to push the yellow back towards the billiard spot underneath it as we look on.
28.
Angus McAnally is watching from the Emerald Isle. Yeah, sorry you couldn't be here, but big friends with Dave is Angus, and he'll be watching on. Dave just composing himself a little bit, takes the long walk around the bottom end of the table.
38.
Just gathers those balls together.
40. 42.
Yeah, Causier and Gilchrist have met a number of times this season. Most recently the Irish Open final, and also the UK Championship final, the English Open final. So, and that's just this season. If you go back further, you're looking at, well, many times that these two have met. They've obviously got the utmost respect for each other, but it's still hard to call, isn't it? We've seen close matches, as we've seen one-sided matches, and like Darren said, a lot of it can depend on how the match starts. But I'm sure all the spectators watching here in the venue and everyone online will just be hoping for a good match here between these two, and I'm sure we'll be seeing some decent breaks. But that's nice to see both players hopefully really display their finest billiards.
And that's just going to look from the camera angle we've got here. That looks like it's got a tiny bit awkward. I'm not sure if Dave can play this with side. Yeah, slightly deceiving, so no issues there.
53.
So it'll be interesting to see what he does here. Does he drop the yellow down behind the billiard spot? No, he's actually playing off the red. So maybe he'll bring the red into the middle of the table.
56. 58.
Yeah, it's a great way of learning, isn't it, to see how the players of this caliber manoeuvre the balls to the top. There's sometimes different ways of going about it. That was quite an attacking way, I think, of getting to the top. But of course, Dave is that's his style. He always tries to get the balls there as quick as he can. And if a player may have played, a few more in-offs, but Dave is such a master at the way he plays and the way he converts positions from open play to the top of the table in no time. Sometimes it may only take 2 or 3 shots to get in prime position, but this has gone awkward now. Got the red's gone too far, and as you can see, buried under the side cushion there. So no attempt at a cannon, just a safety shot. Doesn't want to give Peter an easy opening.
Yeah, so we might see a little bit of safety play here. No obvious scoring shot for Peter. Obviously, he could try and put the red down the cushion, but he's never going to play that. So he'll likely just dump his white on this side cushion, I think.
Yeah, you don't see a huge amount of safety in billiards, but it does play a part in the game, and you mainly just, obviously it all depends on where the balls are, but generally you're just trying to not leave your opponent an easy shot, or one that if they do go for that, there's some risk there. So you're perhaps trying to tempt your opponent into trying to go for something, and when you're on the other end of that situation, you're trying to weigh up the options. How difficult is a shot? What could I potentially gain from it or leave from my opponent? So at some point soon, I think one of the players is going to go for something, but of course neither player wants to move the red, so that's why they're playing off their opponent's ball, because playing red for us would likely knock it into open play. So again, it comes down to the percentages really that these players are weighing up.
I'm surprised he didn't actually play that a tiny bit harder, because the obvious angle was his white was going to go towards his bottom right pocket. But obviously maybe he didn't fancy, if he did go in, you know, getting the red safe or even sort of double walking Dave. But big thanks to Sam Jones at TYP Live, the Yorkshire Project, for providing the streaming again. Sam does a fantastic job.
Yeah, we built up a really good archive really of all the matches throughout the season, and indeed the last 2 or 3 seasons now on our YouTube channel, which is brilliant for people like us who are still very much learning and trying to take as much in from these great players.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the game, isn't it, Chris? That obviously we're all very much students of the game. Even Peter and Dave, they'll still be learning things. And what's great, I guess, about billiards is that you can play against the best in the world, and they will give you advice after the game. You know, maybe you shouldn't have done that, or next time try this. You should just concentrate on this part of your game. So, really sort of good bunch of players and people that are involved. But these two are two of the best. Peter now in Singapore, but obviously both these guys are from the Teesside Boys Billiards League, as were a few of the world champions.
Yeah, what an amazing league that was, and obviously just hearing about it and learning and speaking to players like Martin Goodwill, for example, has spoken about the sort of players that are in that league and the people that made it happen, and it's fascinating to learn about that, and what a situation that was for those players to have that sort of competition, coaching, and of course 5 world champions I believe that league produced, which is incredible. So as we were saying, a bit of safety play going on here just for the moment. Neither player looking to push the boat out too much, and of course there's nothing in the scores at the minute, so it's still early days in this 3-hour timed final.
Yeah, in the short format, the modified rules, there's a rule in there to kind of prevent this type of thing, I guess, Chris. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in the match play format, which is the 100 ups format that we play, there's only one event, which is the World Match Play, but there is a stalemate rule that has been introduced for that event. So it's similar to snooker, where if the referee feels that, you know, a situation is just going back and forth, stalemate, nothing's really developing, then they can advise the players that they have a certain number of shots to, you know, change the situation and move things on. And if they don't, then there's a restring. So the players string again. They keep the same cue ball, and then the game just starts off like a break off, as it were, from the starting position. With the red on the spot, but the scores stay the same. So if it was 60 points each and 100 up, then that's what would continue at that point. But you do see that occasionally in the 100 up format because of the short game target, but normally it's very rare that a safety play would be prolonged to such a big degree. And obviously, as you can see now, things have progressed here. This white looks to be just out of bulk, so Peter can play off it now and drop onto the red nicely. So
Yeah, Dave will be disappointed with that, I think. Leaving the white out. This could cost him. You know, if Peter puts a big break in now, that's going to do some damage mentally to Dave. Maybe ruin that.
5.
And Peter will know that as well, won't he? He's obviously very experienced, and this is a great chance for him now.
yeah, champions like Causier and Gilchrist, for example, they just know subconsciously when there's an important moment in a match, and even though it's very early on, this could be the first real important moment, you could say. That safety play has elapsed, so we're now into a good scoring position for Peter, knocking the white into the drop cannon position now. So we're trying to get to the top.
He's missed.
Gilchrist. 10.
Surprising, very surprising.
Wow.
He will not be happy about that.
How many times do you see players of this level miss drop cannons? It's really rare, isn't it? That was really quite unexpected.
2.
So Dave just plays the screw back cannon now, and trying to gather the balls in this bottom right corner of the table. Maybe a bit of edginess, Chris. Obviously both players having good chances. Again, as we see Dave miss that pot red along the top cushion. Bit of a sort of edgy start, I think, and they'll be both looking for a bit of a settler, really.
Yeah, I think Dave will very much settle down once he gets into a good scoring position, but just goes back to what you were saying. It's just about getting off to such a good start, and that's what these players are so keen to do. Even though they've already had 2.5 hours of play this morning, this is a new match, a new situation, and it's all about settling in.
5.
I think that red dropping in, that's helped him out there now, because he can look to play the cannon and push the white towards the bullied spot.
Yeah,
Slightly thinner contact, so he's left the white behind a little bit.
13. 15. 17.
Yeah, so he's just trying to develop that sort of mini drop cannon from this side of the table. Obviously the red's gone too high for that now, so his cue ball's going to be moving away. Let's see what he does now.
Twenty. 3.
Obviously two pots off the bullied spot. It'll have to go up to the middle spot. So nicely controlled.
26.
And he's just looking now for the angle for either the in off white, or if he's going to leave a little cannon. Just drop this red into the middle. Away he's queuing, he's going to play it with some power, I think.
29. 51.
Just got a little awkward, hasn't it? I mean, he can get in off the red and or the white, but if he goes in off the white, it looks like he'll have to send it in and out of bulk. I think it looks quite a steep angle, if you know what I mean, to try and hold that. But he knew when playing that where the red is, he can go in off it from hand. So also he was trying to get the white into an open position, not too near a cushion, but he knew he had the red as backup, and that's fallen quite nicely here. I think all these players would rather
36.
get to the top by going in off the white into the middle pocket, drop it behind the spot, and then pot the red, rather than playing a drop cannon. Slightly more of a certain way of going. Drop cannons, well, although we saw Peter miss a rare drop cannon a few moments ago, it's more the positional aspect that can go wrong, whereas this is
39.
generally deemed to be a bit more safer. Not sure if he's got the angle to cut the white fin now and send it behind the billiard spot. He may be able to. It's difficult to tell. He may need to play off the white, as you can see there, send it a bit more into the middle of the table and then play that shot.
You might do it now, Chris. You might push that white down. Just drop onto the red, then to leave the pot red in the middle. But he looks as though he's going to just play the in off. I think he's obviously biding his time here, isn't he? He's keeping Dave sat down. He's keeping his score moving. Not taking any risks.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about these players wanting to get to the top quickly, but even these in-offs, the open play, I mean, these in-offs help to keep your Q arm going. Like you say, keep your opponent sat down for a little while, get a feel for the table. Of course, Peter played his semi-final on the upper table, so he'll have that to consider as well, the speed and how the balls react. So it all varies, really, depending on the situation. It's such a key aspect of the game, isn't it? Those half-ball in-offs, the losing hazards, as we say. Bread and butter for these players, but it's something they've spent hundreds of thousands of hours over the years doing, but
51.
it still applies for all players. Those basic shots that we all start off with when we're learning the game.
So this is interesting. Is he going to play the in-off red, or is he going to play the cannon off the side cushion, the right side cushion as we look? Try and develop that white, but it looks as though he's going to play the in-off, which he has done. Bring that round towards the pyramid spot.
We talk about drop cannons, but there's always different variations. This time it's red first onto the white.
62.
It's turned out well, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think he was mainly playing to gather the balls out. It wasn't really the sort of position where he could push the red over a pocket as such. But
64.
still more work to do to get in prime position. But this is perfectly fine, really, and like you say, keeping this score ticking along, keeping Dave sat down.
67. 69. 70.
if you're watching this and you're perhaps new to billiards or not so familiar with the rules, have a look at our YouTube channel on the home screen there. You'll see the
74.
video which covers all the basic rules. And a lot of people maybe who are watching billiards for the first time, you know, struggle to understand exactly what's happening, but the rules are fairly easy to pick up really once you have a look and see how the scoring works, the in-offs, the pots, the cannons, and hopefully that will increase your enjoyment of the match here.
I think I might watch that, Chris, to be honest, because the way I've been playing this weekend, sometimes I'm thinking, I wonder what's going on. But yeah, nearly 100-point lead now, or over 100-point lead for Peter. So this is the ideal start, I think. This is what I'd wanted to happen. And now we'll be looking to... You'd love to make sort of a 200 or 300 break here.
Bottom warning at 80.
That red just travelled a tiny bit too high. He was looking to leave either a pot or a cannon. You might have to break the balls up a little bit here. Actually, you might, if he plays a double, you might play the cannon, screw back cannon, you might get a double kiss here.
83.
Which he has to keep them together. Hi to Wayne Carey watching over in New Zealand. Hope you're well, Wayne.
85.
So the break goes to 85, and Stefan, the referee, will have called a balk line warning at 80. So Peter now needs to cross his cue ball, cross the balk line, before his break reaches 100 points.
87.
That isn't a great shot, is it? He scratches his head and thinks, what's next, Chris?
Well, for those who watched the semi-final between Gilchrist and Rob Hall, he pulled out an amazing bulk line crossing that was... It looked like a hit and hope, but he had no other option really, just to try and hit the balls really hard and judge the contact as best he could to send his cue ball around the table. It sometimes does come to that, even for the best players, but that's gone awkward, as you can see, and tricky squaring off the red there. But good start. 100-point lead. Still early days, of course, but it's not left a great deal for Dave.
2.
Having no option but just to pop Peter's ball, and he'll be looking to send both balls if he can behind the bulk line for a double bulk that Peter will now face when he comes back to the table. So both balls now being behind the bulk line. Peter Gilchrist in hand, of course, he can't hit directly onto these balls, so that's a situation that we sometimes see. Just having a look to see what Dave will be faced with. That's why he's just queuing up there to the white, trying to assess how he deals with this.
Miss baby Causier 2. Three. 5.
So that red goes into the middle pocket at some pace, as Dave got the enough yellow to get both balls back into action.
Lady Causier, 10.
Another surprising miss. Strange so far. Both players do seem edgy. I think Peter looks slightly more composed than Dave does. So nice pot there from Peter. Slightly awkward queuing.
3.
Oh, has he got the angle for the in-off white in the middle?
Five. Seven. Nine.
Peter just coming around to have a look at how he can cannon onto the white. Obviously it's gone into an awkward position, still got the red though, so players never generally like to have one ball out of good position for too long.
12.
So you won't see Peter playing a string of shots off the red. His main aim will be trying to get into a position where he can develop that white. That was quite an attacking shot going on around the table. It looked too thin for the in-off.
15.
It seems to have fallen quite nicely. Not sure he was playing exactly there.
Yeah, it's quite fortunate that, isn't it, where it's landed on the standard half ball line to the middle pocket.
18. Twenty. With the Gilchrist, 20.
So Peter now looking to drop this red in and to leave an angle on the white to get that back into play.
7. Nine.
So nice drop cannon here for Peter. Let's see how these balls fall after this shot. Never certain the positional side. They're always looking to get a nice thick contact on the red when it's a standard position like that. It's not falling too bad. Barry Russell watching from Saltash in Cornwall. We play at the same club and travel to a lot of these events, so I hope you're doing well, Barry. Hope you, unfortunately you couldn't get to this event, as you say, but hopefully we'll see you again next season. And just been looking through the comments as well. Thanks for those who are contributing to that. There's some comments there about the general exposure of billiards and the circuit and the prize money, and World Snooker has been mentioned, but it's not quite as simple as simply World Snooker giving, you know, a big portion of money. There is obviously funding that comes from the governing body, the World Professional Billiards and Snooker Association, and it's obviously a complicated subject, but at World Billiards we work closely with the governing body, and we're doing all we can to, like I say, work with them and grow the profile of the sport. And it's certainly increasing prize money is something that we're looking to aim for, but there's a lot of considerations that have to go into that. But it's fantastic to see such a dedicated following for our sport all around the world now, and not just those who are here at the venue, but everyone supporting online, watching the streaming, the results and so on, social media as well.
Yeah, and there's just one more event left this season, which is the Walter Lindgren Australian Open, which will be held at the Yarraville Club in Melbourne, Australia, 10th till the 13th of June.
Walter Lindgren wasn't a bad player, Darren, was he?
I think he knew the basics, Chris. Yeah, he wasn't too bad.
Fantastic to have an event named in memory of the great man Lindgren. And that will be taking place in Melbourne. That normally attracts a good quality field, so keep an eye on that one for the results and so on.
33.
Yeah, and that'll conclude the 2024-2025 season, and we start again in August at the Northern Snooker Centre in Leeds for the Jim Williamson Open, which is an event that always tracks a large field of players. But a lot of the players will be taking a well-earned rest over the summer, recharge, and we go again in August. This red just coming down towards the bottom right of the table as we look.
Yeah, absolutely, and we have to remember that, you know, players are not, virtually all the players are not doing this as their full-time profession. They have got other family commitments, work commitments, and so on. So it is fantastic to be able to go to these events, but it does take take its toll in some ways. So, like you say, I'm sure many players will be having a little break after this, and then we look forward to going again. We have had a comment there in the stream in from Boat Sounds, if I can see that correctly. How do you manage a shot clock for these timed events? Surely you could just get in front and then take your time, but that's not what billiard players do. If you're well in front, you don't see people time wasting, running down the clock. That's not how it's done really in billiards. There is rules in the rule book about time wasting, so if a referee feels that the player is taking too long over a shot, basically, then they can warn them. They can stop the clock and give that warning, and there's stages that it obviously goes through, but thankfully we very rarely see that. Very rare indeed. Obviously in a key situation in a match, Darren, if it's a close finish and you're faced with a difficult position, naturally you might need to really give it a little bit of thought, but it's always proportionate to the situation, isn't it? You don't see players using that to their advantage for no reason.
Yeah, I guess we pride ourselves in being a gentleman's game, and there's, I guess, unwritten rules of things that you should and shouldn't do, and that's obviously one of them is to play the game in the right spirit, which obviously both these two class acts on the table do that. Peter in his semi-final, the composure he showed there in that break. I think he came to the table and his score was, if I'm right, 308, and Rob was on something like 624. And Peter made an unfinished break of, was it 322? Somewhere around that to run out the game, which was next level, just fantastic, really. Vincent Henning is saying that really enjoying the live streams. Everyone's doing a great job. Yeah, thanks for that, Vincent. Yeah, it's great to have the live streaming and to get the exposure of the game. And Sam at TYP Live does a great job.
Yeah, and Sam doesn't just do billiards, he does other sports as well. So have a look at his website, TYP Live. You'll see all sorts of different types of streaming that he's been involved in. And just briefly going back to that 300 break that you said Peter made, the unfinished break. I mean, we admire these top players, don't we, of the skill that they produce, but it just takes it to another level again when they're actually producing that when they know that it's their, if they miss, the game is over, and it's their only chance, and it's on their, must be in the back of their mind somewhere, and knowing that they can't afford to miss. That's just really, when you think about that, it's, we've got nothing but admiration for these players.
Yeah, I think there's a classic quote from, I think it was Steve Davis, where he said, "You need to play like it means nothing when it matters more than anything." And that is obviously a skill in itself, and that's what Peter did in that semi-final. He was hugely under pressure, and to make that break at that point was fantastic. But the lead now, Chris, goes to almost 200. He's got the balls in a good scoring position. So early worrying signs really for Dave that he's not really got started yet. We know obviously he's a fantastic scorer, and at any point he could kick in and put in a huge break himself, but there's going to be a break after the first 90 minutes. So Peter will be looking to get into that break, I guess, the mid-session interval with a lead, and he's got a good chance of doing that as he builds on this break as we look on. Got the balls in almost a reverse top position.
Yeah, and just while you watch on with Peter building on this lead, we'll be introducing the owner of the club shortly. The trick shot here, Olivier van den Breid. He'll be joining us in commentary. We'll have a little chat with him, and we're really grateful for his support in not only hosting us here at the trick shot, making everyone feel welcome, but also he certainly plays a part in encouraging the local Belgian players to play. I think in the lead up to this tournament, they had a group sort of get together weekly on a Monday night, I think, here in the club playing billiards. So it's nice to know that the event has had an impact, and they're playing at other times as well, trying to learn the game. And certainly it's clear to see that they're
95.
improving with their games. We had the Belgian Open over the weekend, and the Challenge Cup, the plate event, featured 2 Belgian players in the final. Michael de Koesmaker coming through in that final, so he goes home with a trophy. We don't know yet. He'll be going home with the European Open trophy, but Peter Gilchrist certainly in the driving seat early on.
Like 8, spotlight, cross. $100. $102. $4. Victor Gilchrist, 104.
So as we see here, Peter Gilchrist 311 to 88 at the moment, and he's going quite nicely here. And we're just going to hand over now to Sam Jones from TYP Live, and also we're pleased to have Ollie from the club, the trick shot here, who's made us feel so welcome and has done a fantastic job hosting the event, preparing the tables and making sure everything is ready for us. So Sam will be chatting with Ollie in a moment, so do stay tuned.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And as always, it's a pleasure to be working behind the scenes with World Billiards. And, well, it's another country, another nation, with a beautiful country of Belgium, more specifically Bruges. What a beautiful, clean country and city this place is. Ollie, welcome to the commentary box. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. Yeah, enjoying the billiards, learning a lot. It's quite new for us, so we mainly play snooker here. So we a couple of years ago we got the privilege to welcome the Billiards Federation, and it's an amazing game. It's unbelievable. Not that many players know it quite well. Apparently, it used to be in early 90s. It used to be played in Belgium as well. I heard from a few from the older guys.
Yes,
you
the
know?
older generation, yeah, the old school.
And they talked about it to me and yeah, told me about it. So it's who knows? Maybe it will come back. So yeah.
Certainly, I was speaking to a few of the guys that obviously live here, and they was mentioning how much they've enjoyed the Belgium Open and watching on with the European Open. Obviously, some did enter the European, but there was a lot more from Belgium that did enter the Belgium Open. Obviously, it was different levels of competition, so a little bit cheaper in entry fee, and obviously over the weekend it helps. And they were saying how much they want to bring more events to Belgium specifically.
Definitely, yes. We started off the first edition with maybe 4 players because nobody really knew it. But now at the club, quite a few of the players, they once in a while play the billiards game, and the other people who are playing, they're just asking what you're playing because they don't know it, and all of a sudden, before you know it, everybody's on probably a weekly basis has once a week has a few games, so they really enjoy it. So we already had, I think, 9 entries this weekend because the weekend is easier, people don't have to work, and hoping for more in the future. And I think there will be more because everybody who entered this year, they already said if it's on again next year or the year after, or any time, we'll be entering again. Yeah, they thoroughly enjoyed it.
And obviously, well, you hosted the event, but you also played in the event as well, in both the Belgium and the European Open. I'm just getting little bits of your stats up here through the thing.
Oh dear.
But obviously, it's one privilege hosting the event, but how did you find playing in the event as well?
I loved it. It's I've been playing snooker for quite a long time, and it's completely different. You basically, if you're playing snooker, you try to avoid an in-off, and all of a sudden you have to play the in-off, and the guys, everybody makes it look that easy, but it is not. It is not easy to play an in-off or even a cannon. It's they make it look so ridiculously easy, but it is a tough game. It is really a tough game. So I'm actually hungry to learn more about it, to learn how to play the shots correctly.
Well, quite interesting there you said about learning to play the game. For those watching at home as well, this resource will be useful for you. But there is a couple of books made by Martin Goodwill and his team. One of them's called The Snooker Player's Guide to Billiards. It's a very thick book. It's there's a paper copy and an online copy. The online copy is available on worldbilliards.com. So if you create an account, to anyone that's listening at home, if you create an account and go into the resource section, you can download that today free of charge. So if you are a snooker player that is watching and looking to learn this beautiful game, you can do so there. And then there is more and more books. The amount of books that there is on this game is unreal. There's the newest one that's just all about top of the table. So I know you saw, I was looking, and you played Rob Hall, who is very good at top of the
amazing.
table, and you'll have seen likes of Dave Causier and Peter Gilchrist playing it. Would you believe that just for that section of the game, there's a book with about 300 pages?
I can believe that. Yeah, even though I've seen them play quite a lot now. You when you're at the table yourself, then like an hour later, you still can't figure it out. What's the correct shot to play? Because you're watching them and they don't have to think about it. They just play the shot. And when you're, as a snooker player, at the table yourself, you're always watching to pot the red off the black spot, to pot it.
Yes.
But that's not the way to play it. Well, you maybe pot it once, but you make a cannon in between every time. So
to keep.
The positional play is completely different. As a snooker player, you're gonna like to be low on the black spot, to go to the reds who are between the pink and the black spot.
Yeah.
As a billiards player, they mostly play high to make the cannon again. So that's for us. Our mind is kind of programmed differently, and it's difficult to adjust to that.
Yeah, and as you alluded to earlier, one big thing that you've got to reprogram your mind to is a simple in-off, potting your own cue ball.
Yes. Yeah.
It's something that I had to grasp to when I very first started playing this game. From a pool and snooker background, you're thinking, well, this just doesn't seem right. But it is right. It's what makes this game so wonderful. And there's a lot of people in the chat, some that couldn't make it to this specific event, but do come to other World Billiards events. I will say good afternoon to Ian Whiting and Barry Russell that are in the chat. Hope you guys are doing well. And hope to see you. Well, I'm sure they'll be coming over. They'll have heard all the stories and all the fun that they've had over here, and the hospitality that yourself have given us here at the Trick Shop.
Well, I have to say, all the players and the organization have been amazing as well. It's a wonderful tournament, and especially the people are really welcoming, very nice, and there's a very good atmosphere. It's not just only about playing the tournament and playing billiards, but the social aspect of the tournament is just amazing. It's the best you can wish for.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly a billiards family, is what often gets said. You know, everyone comes. It's a social event. Obviously, when we're on the table, it's a matter of beating your opponent.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But off the table, you would enjoy. Well, here we've been enjoying some ribs and some beer with the exact same people. So,
Exactly.
26.
So probably this shot Peter is going to play the in off. It looks easy, and if you practice on it as a snooker player a little bit, it's actually it's one of the standard shots, isn't it?
yes, yeah.
If you have your cue ball in the middle pocket and then play half ball on the red
Half
that's
ball,
on the black
yes,
spot.
and then it'll just naturally go
the
over.
first time they showed me that shot, I thought like I'll never get that, but actually if you practice it a little bit, it's always going to be very close or going in. But they play it without even thinking. It's one of the standard shots.
Yeah, the beauty of
Yeah.
billiards is when you look at this table, there is a lot of lines and a lot of circles to work from within. Obviously, when you mentioned about the cross losers, long losers, things like that, they are all operated on lines.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, if you're going across lines and things, then you're bringing different bits of spin. But generally, you can work off of natural angles and natural half-ball lines. So your first task in hand is hitting it half-ball.
Yeah.
And after you're fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
And here is Peter in top of the table. Here's a comment to yourself, Ollie, from Angus McAnally. He was saying he wishes he was here and he misses your wife's spaghetti bolognese. Grant Medley watching from Sydney, Australia. It'll be quite the early hours of the morning over there, so good morning to you guys that are watching Down Under. And here we'll suspect that Peter will be
46.
trying to get into the postman's knock, as we call it. The white ball, so with Peter being on the yellow, his white will suddenly become trapped on that very top rail. And on the cannon, it'll be a case of just playing his yellow onto the white, knocking it twice, keeping it frozen, and continuing the break from there.
The really difficult thing I find personally is not always just to make the cannon, but to have the cannon correctly to make the cannon on the correct side of the ball you need to cannon. Because if you hit it on the wrong side, you're out of position. You're completely out of position. But they just hit it every time on the right side, so they make it look easy. But make no mistake, it is not an easy game. It's very tough to judge the cannons correctly.
Yeah, in this game you are thinking about 1, 2. I would say 2 shots ahead. For me, I'm thinking about just getting the 1 shot. Never mind, 1 shot ahead.
I completely understand you with that one.
Yeah, apologies there, Angus. Yeah, I mentioned top rail and top cushion. Yeah, different cue sports coming into my commentary there.
$57.
So we are coming close to the 100 minutes remaining. This was a 3-hour match. Some duration is that for one single match?
That's unbelievable to stay focused for that amount of time, and
57.
it is very difficult to stay focused, because sometimes, especially when the top players play each other, you can be set down for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden you come at the table, and you have to from the first shot on you have to get it, because if you don't get the shot right, you can be sat down for another 15 minutes. So the pressure on every shot is quite immense. It's different in snooker. If you're making a break, if you're making a 50 or 60 break, there's not that amount of pressure anymore, because if you miss, it doesn't mean you're going to lose the frame from it. But in that game, they can keep you off the table for a very long time. So it's difficult to get your cue arm going. I find it personally difficult to get your arm going if you're playing one of the top players.
Yeah, it's certainly a case of you going in cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Prior to start of the game, it's a case of you have your 3 shots, you have your little practice.
Yeah.
You play one of these top guys, well, that might be a last shot for a good half an hour.
Exactly.
Vincent, yes, there is a 15-minute break, I believe, at 90 minutes. So we will be pausing for a bit and then coming back for part 2. Now, as Ian's to here, Peter keeping it tight. Great match play. Yeah, we saw a pot white from Peter and then double balk. Dave couldn't make anything from playing in hand, so Peter's back at the table with a chance to strengthen this 200 plus gap. Yeah, Peter keeping Dave cold, certainly. And that takes some doing, but if there is any man on the World Billiards circuit that knows how to keep Dave cold, it's Peter Gilchrist. They've been in enough finals together.
How about the semi-final he just played?
11.
That was amazing, wasn't it? That's just unbelievable. And I don't know if it was mentioned before. I think Peter was about 300 points down, and got at the table and made a 300 plus break to just win the match with like a minute left. I think about a minute before the match ended, he went.
It was something that he posted on social media. A 6-point win.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
and it was a 322 break unfinished.
Yeah.
And the thing with some people ask, why do we put unfinished on the breaks? Mm-hmm. Well, it simply tells the story. If it's unfinished, it was on that visit, and to come straight back 300 and so points behind to take it by 6.
Unbelievable. That's good timing, isn't it? I mean,
Game management to an
in a
absolute
match
T.
that lasts for two and a
Yes.
half hours, going over your opponent's points in the last minute that's a good timing. Yeah.
From what I heard from that match was that there was a couple of absolute excellent rescue shots from Peter where it could have gone wrong, which would have led Rob back in, but kept things tight. And here he is, trying to make every second count to take home the 2025 European Open.
5. Seven.
Peter Whelan asks, has Dave still got the highest break? Well, in the 2025 European Open, it is certainly still David Causier that tops the list with a fantastic 568, shortly followed by a 560 and a 522 break. 3 500 plus breaks in one event takes some doing.
Seven.
Someone asks, is there any early predictions on a final score? Well, I think this is one of them games where it's so hard to have a guess on the final score by the points.
Definitely, just one visit from one or the other player at the table can just make 300-400 points at once. So it's very tough to predict this. It's about the details, I think. The safeties, the odd shot that gets missed, because both players are definitely very capable of punishing any mistake their opponent makes.
Another thing is, here with roughly just about 5 minutes left of this opening session, a break. In a way, Peter wouldn't want this break to come.
No, he's in a rhythm now. He's in a zone now, so he actually wants this to continue right now. Dave will probably be, I won't say happy, of course, but he'll just be happy to get to breaks. Maybe it breaks Peter's concentration, focus a little bit. It can change. A lot of games can change after a break, but he's going very well here.
And to anyone that is watching that is new to billiards, as much as the scoreline may say that this is over now, it is far from over now.
Oh, it is far from, yes. It only takes one good opportunity for Dave to counter-attack, if you like, and it can go quickly with Dave. He doesn't take a lot of time to score some points, that's for sure.
Good afternoon to Pat Caldrick as well from Dublin. It's terrific to have you at the World Match Play opening ceremony once again this year. The man that is a master with a guitar, but has the absolute dedication to billiards and love to billiards.
Clean the yellow, please. Thank you.
Peter's just asking for his cue ball to be cleaned. 3 minutes left. Won't be too many points left to add on to this, I don't think. Peter's been very methodical about his way through the whole of this first session. Certainly not played as fast as what he usually does. He's made things count and double and triple checked everything over. Yeah, Grant, certainly correct on that. Dave can roll 100 points in about 5 to 6 minutes.
$71.
And what you will see as well, Ollie, is when it comes to the break, the balls will get measured in their place. So obviously we come back where everything is, and the same person at the table
Can continue the game from where the balls were the last shot.
so
Okay.
measure everything out,
Yeah.
and then we put them on a little diagram and
Okay.
then lift the balls up, give it a nice clean, and then we get back underway with
Yeah.
things go.
So probably, if you know the last shot is coming up, you want to leave it as easy as possible to have your first shot again.
Yeah, your first shot, you'll be coming in cold, so you
Yeah,
want a nice steady away
exactly,
shot. Yeah,
exactly,
certainly
yeah,
right there.
78.
Now for Peter here, within a minute and 10 left or so, you can get these in prime position to come back, probably at the table, top of the table.
Yeah.
That'd be very dangerous.
So the red to the side cushion towards the white ball, probably.
80, pop line warning at 80. $82.
On cue services, going to intermission with a 300 plus break.
So he had to cross the balk between
Yes,
80 and
100,
100
yeah.
break, yeah.
And that looks like it's
That's
end
perfect. Yeah.
of first session. So things will stay as they are as we go into the mid-session interval. So from myself, Sam Jones and Ollie, we'll be joining. We'll join you. Are you coming back in?
A bit later on.
Yeah.
Got some work to do, but I'll be happy to come in and watch the rest of the match. It's still it can go either way, isn't it? Can't it? It's even though Peter's well up front now, he can turn around quickly sometimes.
Yeah, certainly. We can't count Dave out at all. So we'll be doing this break. Go put the cuppa on. Cuppa on? Go put the kettle on. Go and grab a snack. Come join us in 15 minutes time for part 2 of this 2025 European Open, live from Trickshot in Bruges, Belgium.
stop the clock. Stop the clock, stop it. Yep. Clock started? Started. And play. Break 85.
Seven. Ninety. Ninety-three. 95. 98.
So welcome back to part 2 of the 2025 European Open live from the Trick Shot Club in Bruges, Belgium. It's Dave Causier v Peter Gilchrist. As Peter heads over the 400-point difference mark, it's going to take some doing for Dave to get back and make this up. However, with breaks, well, with 3 breaks of 500 plus so far in the European Open, you simply cannot count Dave out just yet, as there is still
103.
1 hour and 30 minutes to play of this final. For this final, it's been steady away so far on the breaks. Nothing too big in these guys' standards. So far, the breaking play of 108 is the highest. But we have seen quite a different game plan from Peter so far. Very methodical, think twice, think 3 times approach to things.
111.
Couple of double balks. Simply not forcing anything and keeping Dave cold off the table. And as I was mentioning to Lydia earlier on, just at the end of part 1, was how important it was to leave the balls in a nice steady first couple of shots. You're coming back after your mid-session interval.
121.
This is why it's important, because this is part 2. But Peter's straight back in here, top of the table.
126. 129.
Tom asks, what is the prize money for this event? So the winner gets £1,400. That is in
132.
British sterling. The runner-up gets £700.
134.
Semi-final is £350. Quarter-final is £175. Last 16, £90. And if you do get the highest break, you get an extra £175. So for that highest break, prize is going to Dave Causier. 568. So 569 is the target. Anyone else? There's only one man that can knock Dave off that one so far, and that's going to be Peter Gilchrist. We're going to see it in this break.
$145. $147.
Yeah, granted, he does look more deliberate with every stroke, and I'm sure in his past before I came to World Billiards,
150.
I've seen a lot more of a fast-flowing Peter Gilchrist and not a... I'm not going to say methodical on the extreme end, but a steady away Peter Gilchrist.
$155.
Unfair.
Could say a Mark II of Peter Gilchrist.
$157. $160.
Vincent, yeah, there's a lot more side spin that gets played in billiards. There's a lot of shots that just get played with natural angle and not much side, but yeah, there is a lot more used generally in billiards. And the beauty with the spotted cue balls is you can see just how much side gets played. Especially if you look back at some of the other events where we have multi-camera angles and you see some of the close-ups that are generally show to everyone. You can see that cue ball dancing across the bays.
168. $170. $173. $176.
So two off the billiard spot.
179.
Means one goes to the middle.
182, ball line warning at 80.
There is, as often that gets mentioned a lot in the commentary by the other lads, ball line crossing, so between 80 and 100 of each century you have to cross the balk line. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Had he gone that way early? There it is.
187.
Something that I do know was mentioned in the World Match Play was how different ways people generate the balk line crossing. Playing two off the billiard spot and then playing the low off the middle spot to go across the balk line, or leaving a pot red on the corner pockets and sending the white ball around the house. I certainly like the around the house option.
Ball line crossing.
It looks good for the cameras
Thank you.
and the highlight reel.
195. $198.
Who's deciding whether to play the pot red or the cannon? I was expecting a cannon. Was it? Oh, pot red's a lot straighter actually now, looking at it. Camera angle's deceiving, and over 200. Peter now makes in this break, the highest break so far of this final.
$204. $207. $210.
So Vincent, Dave Causier's last shot was about 49 minutes ago. That was a ball in hand to a double balk, so really not really an actual visit to have a go at anything.
$212, $215.
His actual last scoring visit was just under 53 minutes ago, so going on to an hour now, not having a single shot or a single stroke.
217,
I'll be cold as ice.
$220, $223, $225,
So now Peter makes it over the 600 mark with a 499 point lead.
$228, $221,
So if we get our stats book out and do the calculations, really another 12 or 15 minutes at this table will put some serious pressure on every visit that comes back for Dave now. Or are we going to see Peter make 1,000 break? I was trying to work that one out as well. I don't think it's quite possible now.
$236,
Peter gets his scoring boots on and
$239,
plays some of them
$241,
crazy little nursery cannons, chasing them around the table.
$243,
There is a £1,000 prize as well for the first world billiard player to make 1,000 break in a competition.
$246, $248,
We have been close, within 150 or so, but the bounty is still there to go and capture.
$251, $253, $255, $258,
I was thinking it was going to be more myself there, Jason, getting the 1,000 break first.
260.
As we approach to our off-season, might have to go and put a fair bit of practice in.
266. 269. 271. 273. 275. 277. 280, bottom warning at 80.
Just a shout out as well to our referee for this 3-hour final, Stephen Moon, and Chris Ellis, our marker.
282.
3 hours of pure concentration for the pair of them. Yeah, it certainly is, Jason. It's very impressive.
88. 290. 293, bottom line cross. 296. 298. 301. 304. 306. Gilchrist, 306.
Well, here we go. After 60 plus minutes away from the table, Dave Causier now has a chance. Peter on a pot red, failing on 306. Failing? Not really. Coming to a stop on 306 is a little bit more appropriate. And still 1 hour, 5 minutes left to go.
8.
This would have to get seen out in one visit.
10.
One visit and beat his own high break of this year's European Open.
15. 18. Miss David Causier.
Double
18.
balk.
Peter Gilchrist, 2.
So straight away that was my prediction out of the window.
Miss David Causier, 2. Two. Four. Seven. Ten. Twelve. Fourteen. 17. 19.
20 hello again.
22. 22. 25. 27. 30. 83. 35. 38. 41. 43. 46. 48. 51. 54. 56. 59. 61. 64. 67. 69. 72. 75. 77. 80. Outline warning at 80. Eighty-three. 85. 88. Bob line cross. 90. 93. 95. 96. 127. $100. $102. $105. $108. $111. $114. $117. $120. $123. $125. $127. Bitcoin increase 127. 2. Five. Eight. David Causier, 8. Two. Five. Eight. Ten. Twelve. Fourteen. Seventeen. With the Gilchrist, 17.
Not your desk.
6. Eight. Eleven. Thirteen. 16. 18. 18. 3. 6. 9. 12. 15. 18. 21. with the Gilchrist 21.
Good afternoon, everyone. Back in the commentary box, and 40 minutes or so remaining. Dave has some ground to make up, you might say. But he's arguably the fastest scoring player. Well, he is the fastest scoring player on the World Billiards Tour, so if anybody can do it, it would be Dave. That yellow dropping in won't help. But he needs a big chance, and he needs it fairly quickly.
Peter Gilchrist, 2.
Dave just runs that yellow down the left-hand side of the table, trying to pot the yellow, I would have thought, and then play a double balk, but it's not dropped in, so Peter's back at the table. So the attempted pot red in the middle is missed.
3.
Dave doesn't want that yellow in. So let's see what he can do. Dave's already had a 500 plus break on this table in the knockout stages.
8.
It's gone a bit awkward, difficult cueing under the cushion, going across the table. But he knocks that in well.
11.
That just about drops in there. So we'll be looking to bring the yellow around into a drop cannon position.
15.
He's slightly overhit that and a little bit too thick. So it's looking like a short Jenny into the middle right pocket, which he's executed well. And if there's ever a time you'd like a drop cannon to go land nicely, I think it's round about now.
21.
Which that looks okay. So just drop this red in. And that red's just bounced a little bit too far. I was hoping to leave the pot red into the right pocket.
28.
So he's hoping to leave an in-off yellow or in-off white there. Which is he's actually got. That was a fluke, ladies and gentlemen. He grins as he continues his break.
2. Thirty-four. Seven.
I am very worried on jinxing this one, Darren, similar to how I did it earlier on, saying that Peter could be in for a high break and even the illustrious 1,000 break. So I shall be not making any further comment on this break.
43.
But the fluke, it's one each after the magnificent figure of 8 fluke of Peter Gilchrist, which we'll have to clip out and put on
46.
our short reels.
Yeah, it could be obviously a bit he's missed anyway. I mean, I was going to say it could be a big fluke, but 652 behind, 32 minutes remaining. It's certainly an uphill task.
Three. Five. 8.
So as we approach the 30-minute mark, and it's one of them, you could say this could be a victory lap. Well, maybe putting the white may put a stop to quite such a victory lap for the last 30 minutes. As we come to a close with the 2025 European Open, you've played in both, Darren, and you've travelled around this beautiful town. What's your thoughts on Bruges and Trick Shot and the hospitality of here?
Yeah, it's an amazing place. The architecture, obviously, in the old square, the market there. It's amazing. It almost looks sort of superimposed. The buildings are just on another level, really. And to think they did those sort of hundreds of years ago, which is just fantastic. But yeah, Ollie and his team have looked after us really well here, maintaining the tables and being obviously very welcoming. It's been great, like we said earlier in the commentary, to see a few new Belgian faces and a few returning Belgian faces. I think year-on-year growth of this event. We're getting more entries. Obviously, we've added this year, we've added the streaming to it with yourself, Sam. And travelling referees have come across from Singapore, which has been fantastic. So overall, it's been a great success and a really sort of enjoyable trip.
Miss Peter Gilchrist. 2.
Yeah, it's been great to be involved here, coming to this one, and I was going to say, but ended up just pushing out, did Dave, that 674 behind. Are we going to see a mad dash to the line? But might be away from that point now. So going back to Bruges, Trick Shot, and the players that have represented Belgium here, one thing we may have to be sending to all the guys on their emails is the Snooker Players Guide to Billiards. Olivier was interested in that one, and I know a few others was keen to get back on another event. Some have been talking about coming over to one of the events in the UK, and even trying to get the ranking points to hopefully look at the World Championships as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Snooker Player's Guide to Billiards is one of Martin Goodwill's. He's got 3 books, and that's one of the publications that's free. If you register on the World Billiards website, so worldbilliards.com, register a free account there, and you'll be able to pick up that PDF. And it's got all the basics. Martin's obviously a fantastic billiards author, and it's well worth a read. So do go ahead and do that. But yes, it's been great to see those guys. You know, the passion for the game that they've got. They're wanting to learn, and they're obviously talking about coming to more events in the UK and the likes in the future. So in the business of trying to grow the game, it's very much positive in that regard, really. So all good on that one. But yeah, I think as a contest, this realistically is done now. Peter's game management. He's played well in the semi-final and this final. He's come across as obviously really composed. He's a great champion, but he's
20.
been really solid, and he's got a good chance now to
Or 21.
put a final nail in the coffin. He just brings this cue ball out high above the billiard spot, and then he'll be looking to nudge underneath the white to bring it closer to the spot or up towards that imaginary line, but he just nudges off it, brings it slightly closer. But yeah, Bruges, it's been a fantastic 5 days, lovely place. If you've never been, you should definitely try and make the trip.
31.
Fantastic food and drink, friendly people. Definitely pay a visit to Ollie and his team at the Trick Shot Club.
Seven.
So our last event of the 2024-25 season is at the Yarraville Club in Melbourne, Australia, for the Walter Lindrum Australia Open. Hey, where are you going?
I'm not sure you get your car across there, Sam. Maybe next time. We'd love to go across there. I've never been to play in Australia. Same with New Zealand. I'd love to go to the events there. One day we'll get across.
As then we head into looking at the 2025-2026 season, kicking things off, the Jim Williamson Open at the Northern Snooker Centre.
That's right, yes. Always a fantastically sort of... lots of players come to that event, normally around the 80 mark. So we look forward to that one. The European Open next season, we can announce that will actually be in Vienna. So we look to do a double header of the Austrian Open and the European Open at the Austrian headquarters in Vienna.
54.
Might have to get the old AA map out, see how the car drive is to there.
Yeah, it's always a great event across there in Vienna. They're very enthusiastic about their billiards. We've had Martin Schmidt and Karl Walter Steiner here in Bruges for these two events.
And there is just a couple of events that we can further announce on the calendar. Some will be aware of the dates changed, but the English Open and the World Billiards Championships will be held at Landywood Snooker Club in October, from the 11th of October to the 16th.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of things planned for the calendar. We'll be working hard in the next few weeks to finalise some of those plans, and then we'll be able to announce the calendar for the remaining events of the new season, which starts in August. But yes, we'll be returning to Vienna for the European Open. It's likely year on year we'll swap between Austria and Belgium for that event. It'd be nice to see Dave now try and make a sizable break.
7,
He'll be disappointed with how this final's gone, but
9,
he's had a great season. He's fantastic to watch. So this will be painful for him, but as all good champions do, he'll bounce back. He'll take some time to regroup across the summer, and he'll come back again, raring to go, I'm sure.
15, 17, 19.
I'm just trying to make a quick calculation if Dave will be holding on to the top spot at the end of this year, but with the event in Australia, which I'm assuming Peter Gilchrist will be entering,
Yes, I think he would be, yes, definitely.
the calculations might mean that the top spot will still be up for grabs to end off the season. When you look at the difference in the total points between the top two and the rest, that is some margin.
32.
Yeah, obviously two fantastic players. Fair to say legends of the modern era for billiards, really. Both multiple world champions.
27.
And they've occupied those two spots for quite some time.
40. 42.
But the Walter Lindrum Open, 10th to 13th of June, that's a level 5 event. The highest event we go to is level 6, so that's defined as a major. So there'll be a lot of ranking points up for grabs there. Dave tends to not really travel too far, I guess. For the World Championships he will, but it's difficult to get lots of time off for these events. Obviously, none of us are professionals as such. I think Peter Gilchrist and the Indian players are the closest it gets to professional billiards players in this day and age.
57.
Dave's obviously got a 9 till 5 job back home in Teesside. So it's a balancing act between the two, which is unfortunate. Obviously someone of his ability,
62.
not having enough prize money to make a living off it is
54.
quite sad, really, but
Well, without dwelling too much, you never know what the future holds, and maybe, just maybe,
yeah, we're always working hard to try and increase the prize money. Obviously that involves having sponsorship deals and things like that, so we'll be working hard across the summer in that regard.
Six. 79.
So Dave's break goes to 82.
82.
He'll need to cross the balk line between 80 and 100 points.
85.
So he rifles that pot red in, crosses the balk line.
88, bot line.
Stefan, the referee, will announce balk line crossed.
90.
He doesn't want that yellow in. And that, indeed, is that.
David Causier, 92.
I think that red just creeps over the line. Quite lucky there, Dave. Obviously got the double kiss in the middle of the table.
Two. Four.
So Peter just trying to control that in off red to leave the red over the middle, but he's not got enough action on the cue ball.
Three. Five. Eight. Ten. 12. 15. 17. 19. 22. 24. 27.
So a nice controlled pot there from Dave to leave this mini drop cannon to push the yellow behind the billiard spot. Wouldn't it be great, Sam, to see him make an unfinished break?
27.
Well, if it was going to be anything like Peter's unfinished break against Rob Hall, we'd be in for something.
40. 42.
What do we reckon then? Unfinished break of what number?
No idea. Obviously, the match has gone as a contest now. But Dave obviously still has his pride, and he'll want to put on a good show, let's say.
48.
If he goes out with a 250 break, that'd be some doing.
52.
Unfinished. There we go. Jason's put 263. Grant's put 306. Peter Cross 246.
57. 60. 162.
Yeah, 14 minutes left.
65. 67.
At this top of the table position, Dave's finally found some fluidity in this
70.
match. Unfortunately, it's come at the wrong time for Dave. However, closing down the point difference
75.
possibly makes it look a little bit easier on the eye when you look at the result list.
77.
Yeah, absolutely. That red just creeps far enough off the cushion to leave the in off.
80. Bottom warning at 80.
So he'll be hoping for the angle here to develop this red into a drop cannon position.
83.
So red to yellow. He'll likely run this red down towards the top of the table now as we look. Yeah, so my prediction, I'm going to say 236.
87.
Well done for finally making a prediction on that one.
Good things come to those that wait, Sam. Break is currently 90. Did he cross the balk line? I'm not
Don't
sure he
think
did.
so, not yet. He has now.
Wow. That was a ridiculous amount of check side there off that top cushion. That was an unbelievable shot.
95.
That was absolutely ridiculous. That's one of those that you're going to watch back and think, wow, that's amazing.
There's been a couple of them shots in this match. Peter played an absolute solid long red in position, and the power that power and control.
103.
Like I say, that one with check side, that was,
105.
well, naughty to say the least. In
Yeah,
some
one
context.
of our players, Mark Hurst, he has a selection of cards, so I think that can be filed under the hot shot category.
118.
But the break now goes to 118. We've got 10 minutes to go.
121. 123.
So if Dave runs out here, unfinished, he could potentially cross the 300 mark.
He is something, and I'm sure the people at home that are watching along would say if they want it or not. But if we ever do these score predictions and other things similar to that,
135.
some little merchandise giveaway.
Yeah, why not? It's a good idea.
More people that comment, the better that it is for the
140.
little machines that work up in the cloud to push out the video to other people.
143. 145.
Yeah, it's all good fun, and Dave's enjoying himself now, but sadly it's too little too late. I think Peter's probably sat in his chair thinking, I'm glad this final isn't 5 hours long, rather than the 3 that it is. Because like you touched on earlier, Sammy, he looks now like he's found his rhythm. The brakes have come off.
Yeah, I think it was looking at some of the shots that he had coming at the table, nothing was an easy goer.
158.
I know usually that doesn't matter to Dave, but in a final, you wouldn't be human if you didn't feel a touch of nerve or a touch of pressure.
161.
Yeah, and when obviously two great players playing, Dave has got a huge amount of respect for Peter.
164.
Obviously, the tension in the arm increases. Early in the match, he's looking for a good opening. With that said, I think both players early on had good chances, but there was that bit of sort of nervous energy, I guess. Obviously, it happens to the best of us, as we can see, but nice little...
171.
And another nice little nudge there. So Dave's break's continuing now at 171.
Mentioned about a little bit of a nervy start. Who would have thought in the first 90 minutes
174.
the highest break would have been 104? So at the time there was an 85 in play, but to the 90 minutes, 104 was the highest break in the first half of this final.
I think what's more surprising about that, as we were just looking at the scoreboard from the halfway point, I think what's more surprising is the fact that David only scored 103, was it? 103, 104 something?
At 80.
He normally scores that in the first 5 minutes of the match, so he's obviously not started well, and that's exactly what we touched on earlier, is what Peter would have wanted to happen, is he keeps Dave sat in his chair, controls the table.
Well, you say sat in his chair. He did that for about an hour, including the break, of course, but an hour without playing a single shot. Well,
Yeah, and as we know, that takes some doing.
that's a whole match in a group stage.
Yeah.
193.
There we go. Someone said a beer mat, a tea towel, a signed photo of all the top players.
Yeah, keep your eyes peeled for merchandise.
198.
We've got some plans in action currently. There are a few items on the shop on the World Billiards website. Waistcoat.
I know what we need. One of them shirt guns.
A shirt gun.
You know, so get people down in the final. Chance to
I'm not sure we'd get that past health and safety, but it's a nice
fire one of
idea.
them. Well, they do it at ice hockey, so it must get past somewhere.
No headshots, obviously.
208.
But, yeah, T-shirt cannons are not normally associated with billiards, but let's bring it into the modern era, why not?
212.
So 212.
216.
On queue services says a meal voucher for Yarraville Club.
There's an idea. We could fire Sam Jones out of the T-shirt cannon. That sounds like a great idea. I think that's Jason Devaney.
222.
Are you less keen on the T-shirt cannon now, Sam?
No, not really. Let's go for it.
225.
Oh, a little bit of me Yorkshire accent coming out then. Let's go for it. Confetti after every 100 break. We'd need a lot of confetti for these competitions.
Yeah, I don't fancy tidying that up either.
232.
But it's certainly looking like he might do what we suggested, and was it 15 minutes to go?
Yeah, about that. Give or take.
335.
Just drops that red in, so now we'll be looking to
238.
develop the yellow into a better position.
240. 242.
We'll just drop this red in now and leave a little cannon to push the balls back towards the billiard spot.
245. 247.
Yeah, it's a shame that we're going to run out of time, because it would have been interesting to see
252.
what break this could have been.
255.
But yeah, Dave's a great champion. I'm sure all his family and friends are really proud of him. He's had a good season.
260.
What a great performance as well by
263.
the now Singaporean Peter Gilchrist.
265.
On cue services, the timer on the screen did stop. We just restarted it from 90 on part 2. 17 and a half minutes, Paul Whelan says, came on. And with that,
273.
the only person's prediction is Grant Medley's of 306. He's still in play. Oh, Dan Fan's 580, but that would be some absolute sonic billiards.
279. 281 bulk line crossing at 80.
As the European part of the calendar comes to an end,
4.
it's going to be Peter Gilchrist lifting the 2025 European Open here at the Trick Shot in Bruges, Belgium. But is that score sheet
292.
going
bulk
to
line
have
cross.
unfinished written on it?
Yes.
294.
He just needs this red to travel round, which it has done.
296.
Perfectly judging the pace to push the red over the middle pocket.
299.
299, he's already crossed the balk line. So this in off yellow to make it 301.
301.
'It's like we said, after the first 90 minutes in this match, Dave had scored 103. And in the past 15 or so minutes, he scored 304
306.
and counting. Yeah, congratulations to Stefan Ng from Singapore for doing a fantastic job officiating this final.
And also to Chris Ellis, our marker and scorer for this 3-hour final.
316.
Here we go. Around 25 seconds left. 316 break.
319.
Continues. I think we're all eagerly waiting for this to stay unfinished.
321.
Yeah, I think all that's left to say is congratulations to Peter Gilchrist, who is the 2025 European Open champion here at the Trick Shot Club in Bruges. Defeating Dave Causier in that 3-hour final. Thank you for listening and watching, and goodbye for now.
Yeah, for whatever you're doing for the rest of your evening, some massive congratulations to Peter Gilchrist, who is your 2025 European Open champion. We sign off the European part of the 2024-25 season. We will see you all at the Northern Snooker Centre for the Jim Williamson Open. And over the summer period, get your practice in, read all the books that you need to for billiards. If you are listening, this is your first time, then certainly check out all the publications, because you'll need them. And it's a game you do not want to miss. From myself, Sam Jones, Darren Clark, rest of the WBL board, and from Ollie and his team, it's a very much thank you for the hospitality that the team has given us while we've been here in Bruges. Last not least, thank you to all our sponsors and partners at World Billiards, ProScore, Aramith, and Hainsworth. And well, that wraps everything up, doesn't it?
Over and out.
I think it's time to head back to our own country. From Trickshot in Bruges, Belgium, good night.